I am Great Mother, Holy Spirit, Yin, Divine Mother, Cosmic Womb, Deep Space, the Moon, Dark Matter, the Void, the Black Hole, Hathor, Isis, Diana, Mami Ishtar, Kali, Mammy, and... Great Mother speaks directly to her children most alienated from her due to our birth mother experience. I know a lot of people have mama drama trauma, but few have the gall to admit it. Congratulations. You are of a rare human breed who has chosen to admit you suffer from a condition in which your mother projects unhealed aspects of herself onto you, causing emotional and or physical trauma. MDT acknowledgement is not about blame or shame of self or our mothers, but about embracing the comforter, your intuition, that still small voice of the Holy Spirit within us to heal. What does this have to do with astrology? Mama Drama Trauma is a soul contract between two souls who love each other deeply enough to insist upon mutual evolution in self-love and spiritual independence. Self-love through abandonment and or abuse, and spiritual independence through genuine discovery of the mother of all mothers. This eclipse season, discovery meets healing work. Since May of last year until November this year, the stars are aligning to wring out our whining tears. It features Great Mother Father energies with Leo in the North Node in tropical astrology and Cancer and Rahu in Vedic astrology. They kicked off this transit with an eclipse that the world stopped to watch in August. And now, a year later, they've come to the finish line with an energy that says, we are not playing. Eclipses are powerful planetary yin, responsive, yang, responsible catalysts. As a result, here are a few recurrent emotions that may have intensified for you over the last year. I am or I am not responsible for the way my mother neglected or ignored me. I am or am not responsible for the way she made me feel unloved or unlovable. I am or am not responsible for her cruel or thoughtless teasing. I am or am not responsible for the bad names she called me. I am or am not responsible for her unhappiness. I am or am not responsible for her problems. I am or am not responsible for her choice not to do anything about her problems. I am or am not responsible for her drinking and or her being on drugs. I am or am not responsible for what she did when she was drinking and or on drugs. I am or am not responsible for her hitting me, or I am or am not responsible for her molesting me. People who admit they have MDT are on another level of consciousness and self-awareness. On the one hand, you may have noticed a pull toward more compassion, while on the other, a dogged determination to allow yourself to emerge as your true self beyond the emotional bondage of MDT. Your Vedic Jyotish sidereal moon sign and nodal axes indicates the nature of the soul and what the ego's intuitive response may be to its evolutionary journey. With Cancer and Rahu ruled by the moon, unconditional love, feelings, beliefs, and attitudes symbolizing the divine law of eternal grace and mercy. The mother, the anima, your soul sign, the Vedic omniscient cosmic orientation, emphasize where greater awareness is needed around impulsive action, reaction to MDT, and choosing your response. Don't let mistakes dissuade or discourage you. Remember, you are breaking a cycle that did not begin with you. So you are learning and doing a damn good job of it. In addition to it just being hard work, it doesn't feel like you're doing so great because, on the other hand, with Leo in the North Node ruled by the Sun, the word, the logo symbolizing the divine law of divine order or worldly justice, the Father, the animus or your earth sign, Western earth centric, your Western moon sign and nodal axis indicates the emotional state of your soul while in your present body, your egoic reaction to these feelings, which is now culminating into feelings perhaps of revenge, scatteredness, and confusion around reverting back to old behaviors you thought you had overcome or have been in the process of changing, now suddenly self-abandoning what has been a difficult and burdensome uphill battle. Time to delete the default buttons: blame, shame, and denial. The final eclipses of 2018 will force us to stoically face and release our MDT guilt, fear, sadness, and rage, like the big boys and girls, gods and goddesses, Great Mother, Father, God, know we are and came here to be. Enjoy your June-August eclipse readings. Get what you need from them and use them as a reference guide when you lose your way. This eclipse season is powerful for many reasons, and for these readings, they seem to either indicate people who are actively working with the healing process of mama drama trauma, or this eclipse season, these third quarter readings really opening up an avenue for them to become more conscious of mama drama trauma in their lives, how it's operating, how it's functioning, how the toxicity is spewing over into areas of their life and consciousness. So this seems to be the latter. This seems to be opening up with the full moon in June, with a very intense situation that has happened either at work or as a result of receiving some type of award or some career goal that you've had. And it challenging your life situation, and that being the catalyst for some issues that have been either swept under the rug or just not known. You know, we don't know until we know, right? We go through life cycles and we are introduced to challenges as we are able to handle them. As dearly loved children of the Great Mother, Father, God, we are seen as gods and goddesses, not victims or weaklings. And so it shifts the perspective in terms of our resiliency and how we handle things. And so as we look at this third quarter from the June full moon to the September full moon, we see for Virgo Libra moon people that it opens up with an acknowledgement, with the acknowledge card. This is a root chakra balsamic moon card that is all about download. And so you are beginning, again, awakening from a situation that has either happened at work or as a result of some recognition that you've received. There is a sense of you finally being recognized for something, or that you finally receiving the guidance that you need about something related to an important goal or aspiration outside of the home, and it bringing up issues that need to be healed at home. And particularly when we're talking about mama drama trauma, this might be a very root transformational thing that ungrounds you during this full moon. It may simply cause you to reflect on your life purpose and how it supports or either doesn't support your home life, or vice versa. Does your home life, does your domestic situation, does your mother support you in the way that you feel that you need to be supported? Now, that's a tricky question because some of us can fall on the side of the continuum where we never quite grow up and there's a little bit too much dependency on mom support, and we never do really draw that line into adulthood. And then there are others of us who are the adults, who are the caregivers to the parent, and we're not quite sure whether we're ever worthy of being cared for at all. So you have to find really where that acknowledgement is for you. But it is a catalyst for you getting ready to really have fun, for you to create a new life, for you to redefine yourself. Either of those, this is a catalyst for. It's a catalyst for you to look at how you are able to do that and perhaps how you're not doing that at this particular time. That full moon builds into a new moon on July the 12th that is going to give you downloads about your friends, your relationships, your networks, even your public image, how people see you. It's going to give you downloads about, really how are you having fun due to your association with this group? Really, how creative are you able to be? What type of expression do you want to do now? That reward that you received in the full moon, either through an intuitive sense of being supported or an actual physical relationship of being supported, an actual accolade. But now, are you following your yellow brick road? Now that you have received that, are you following your yellow brick road? Are you following your truth? Are you taking responsibility for the life that you truly came here to live? Now, we're talking on a soul level. So this is the Virgo intuitive sense of downloading in a real kind of critical sense of what is it that you really want from your relationships in supporting that life purpose moving forward. And I think that the new moon wishes for Cancer this July 12th. It's going to be empowered not only by the fact that this is a partial solar eclipse, which is really going to pull the shadows out of those relationships in ways that you can see how they're supporting you or not, but it's also going to really allow you to access your visceral sense of this. So when you enter a room, for example, or enter the front door of a friend's house, do you feel that welcoming air pulling you in and wanting you to be there and wanting you to share? Or do you feel that you have to defend yourself and make all types of stories before you can, be permitted or be allowed or be granted entry? What's the energy there is what we're looking at in terms of taking responsibility, because we know that when Dorothy was following the yellow brick road, it was all about going by feel, wasn't it? It wasn't about there was a right way or a wrong way. All the paths we found in the end led to Oz's castle. But she didn't know that at the beginning of her journey, just as she didn't know that she could have clicked her heels 3 times at any time to go home. And so this is where you are. You're in this space of developing that visceral, that instinctual sense. And this partial solar eclipse is going to pull out shadows that may be preventing you from seeing what relationships are supportive and what relationships are not, and how you are projecting yourself in those relationships. Are you giving the excuses before you're granted entry? Are you spending more time with people who are more open and receptive to you than you are with people who may be a bit more judgmental? And so you'll see that in that new moon period on an intuitive level, which can really serve you in developing your new moon wishes. New moon wishes are all about setting your intention for the lunar cycle. And so, based on the shadows that it brings up by that balsamic new moon period, within 24 hours of that, let's say by the 14th of July, you want to certainly write down what those Cancerian-like wishes are. What is it that you are wanting to now institute in your home environment? Do you want to move to a new location? Do you need to change your relationship with your mother in ways that will support you in changing your relationships with others? Remember, the relationship that we have at home with our mothers is the foundation of all of our other relationships. We heal that relationship, we heal all of our relationships. It's major work, which these eclipses are supporting all of us in doing. Now, in making that transition from discovery to the healing work, the full moon that culminates from this cycle on July 27th is a lunar eclipse. So full moons are lunar eclipses, new moons are solar eclipses. So the last lunar eclipse we had was in January. The total solar eclipse we had was in August, the one the world stopped to watch. And we've been cleaning up with lunar eclipses since. On July 27th, the cleanup, the reset, the watershed cleanse for you is all about, again, that creativity, that self-expression. You know, how are these people around you? How is your circle having your back with that? And Hattar is emphasizing that, the pleasure principle. Are the people in your circle encouraging you to run away from your MDT issues out of fear? Oh, I can't handle it. Oh, forget about that. You know, you'll never be able to handle that. And of course, you can't alone. We all have support. I know I certainly did. And I certainly do to this day. Or do you have a circle of friends that really encourage you to follow your bliss? This total lunar eclipse is going to make that very, very clear to you, and is going to purge relationships and situations that don't support you in the way that you know on a soul level that you need to be supported. So get ready. Get ready. Things are going to come to ahead in the area of pleasure in your life in order for you to be clear about your bliss, about enjoying the process of discovering your bliss. If you don't know what that is, yourself, your life path, your purpose, it's going to really bring that into crystal clarity. And so the intuitive unction that you've had to follow something is going to be taken over the edge. You know, you don't know where you're going, but you feel like any place is better than the place I've been. Well, you're going to have an idea about, you know, you moving from that place that you don't want to be by then. If you are not worrying about this, and this is not an issue for you, then certainly by then you will have an idea of how things are starting to work out for you, how your bliss is starting to really be experienced and coming to fruition. You know, put your time and energy into holding positive thoughts about what that bliss is and how you want to fulfill it. You know that you have the guidance. You know that you have the protection and the direction. Continue with those expectations about what you truly desire, and just be still during the eclipse most of the day if you can. If you can't, just do your deep breathing, you know, and in between, just silently ask yourself, what is seeking to emerge in my life? What is seeking to emerge in my life? What is the universe up to in my life right now? These are very empowering questions. These are questions that attract your bliss to you. It lets that energy in your soul that is really wanting to animate its joy in you know that it has an entry point, know that it has an invitation. This is not about family, tribe, co-workers, friends. It really, this total lunar eclipse for you is really about what you want in the moment. It's time to be clear. Are you running from fear or following your bliss? That still small voice. This is what this total lunar eclipse is about for you, but it may feel like it really is about friends. It may feel like, but that's just because the sun is in your 11th house and it's reflecting this light of nurturance, of caring, of giving, of patience. But you can also identify areas where you're being exploited from those associations because it's shining the light on this moon in the 5th house, which is wanting to express itself. So Hathor is inviting you to really get in touch with that. This full moon wanes down into a partial solar eclipse on the August new moon on the 11th of August in Cancer, Leo. This is 11th house energy again. It's in a different nakshatra, and the nakshatra that it's in is one that is highly volatile. It's a very emotionally unstable nakshatra, Ashlesha, and it's reminiscent of the total solar eclipse back in August 2017, a year ago, that the world stopped to watch. You might recall the effects that that eclipse had on your relationships with friends, particularly with your mother, after that eclipse. These energies are revisiting you at this time to test what you've been working on in the interim, which is why Hathor has come up for an area that you should not overlook. This partial solar eclipse new moon on August the 11th in your 11th house is really telling you that your angels are not only protecting you and are not only guarding you, but they are assisting you to live in loving detachment. Remember, it's not about family, friends, or tribe for you right now. It's about you. That award that you got that opened up June was something that you probably worked for. The support that some of you have noticed that you are receiving from the angelic realm is something that you have karmically stored up for. And now, since that time, by August 11th, it's really about you facing the issues underneath the rug that you have been told by Great Mother up to this point need to really be looked at. You know, what are some of the things that are important to you moving forward with? And the angels are really helping you kind of wring out, like you wring out a wet rag, it's just wringing out, kind of bad associations, really, and that could make you emotionally unstable, but it's not making us anything. It's the energies. We are made of stardust. And so we don't react to the energies. We are the energies. We all have them in our unique measure, what I call our unique cosmic calculus. And for you as a collective unconsciousness, this particular nakshatra of Ashlesha is operating in your 11th house, where the moon and the sun will be during that new moon period, which is really pulling out those shadows of immaturity that have not been able to graciously and maturely look at what those bad associations are. Some people could be good friends for many, many years, but their energy is not supporting you. And what do we mean by supporting you? To be happy, healthy, and whole. If it's not supporting you to be happy, healthy, and whole, Happy, what is that? Happy is just being satisfied with who you are. If you're around someone that's very critical of themselves and critical of other people, you're in a constant battle to have self-acceptance, aren't you? That doesn't mean cutting people off. It just means establishing boundaries instead of, spending, you know, 3 nights a week with them or 3 nights a month. Maybe 1 night a week or 1 night a month, that type of thing. And having those conversations which would allow you to make those transitions. Believe it or not, and many times my clients are surprised to find out that once you start really expressing what your desires are in a positive and enthusiastic way, that turns people off in and of itself. When people really do realize, oh, they really don't want to be, sitting at the bar criticizing people with me. They really would rather be painting at home. They're like, when they hear you say that, I guess I need to find somebody else to go to the bar, So don't worry about that so much. That is one of the greatest delights of my work is when people discover that. People are usually so worried about, okay, what are they going to say? You just focus on what it is that you want, what it is that you need. And this is what Great Mother's message is for you at this time. Those shadows are going to come out, and it may make you feel a little like you want to hold on, like you want to still be entwined and entangled in the drama. But that's a deceptive type of energy, and it's a dependency that is more associated with your perhaps undercurrent issues of mama drama, trauma, codependency issues, and that sort of thing. It's not real. It's really, you're stronger than that. This is a new moon in Leo, which lends itself well to new moon wishes about self-expression, about creativity, and how you want to have fun. Maybe you want to start a family, and maybe you're with a group of people that have not started a family. Maybe you want a child. Maybe you want to break into the entertainment business, and that's a whole new circle of people. Maybe you've been playing around with the community theater, but now you really want to spend time with that group as opposed to the old group from work or from school or whatever. This is the time that those shadows will come to the fore and ring out what those associations are that are not supporting you going forward, and to implore you through the balsamic moon period leading up to that new moon to write down new moon wishes for Great Mother to support you in moving forward in that self-expression. You want to get those new moon wishes written down by the latest August 13th. This new moon cycle builds up to a full moon on August 26th, when the day after, on the 27th, Mars goes direct. It is finally, after a almost 3-month period, finally direct. And self-inquiry is your card. The angels are helping you to live in loving detachment from an over-concern with the needs of others so that you can take care of yourself. So taking care of yourself during the full moon looks like you actually being able to consciously in real time detect when you are receiving criticism, judgment, even pain thoughts. Your own thoughts could be very painful. And asking yourself, is it true? The self-inquiry card is all about following your inner knowing about the situation that you're working with now. And to the best of your ability, question any and all ideas, beliefs, thoughts, or judgments that are causing you to suffer. Guilt, shame. We can have sadness, rage that comes up. And all of those emotions make us feel less than the dearly loved divine children of the great Mother, Father, God that we are. So we have to stop them in their tracks, realizing, hey, I know you're here pain. I know you're here sadness. I know you're here condemning thought, to show me another way, yet another way that I am dearly loved. What is it? Because I know you're not here to bring me pain. I know you're not here to bring me condemnation. Yeah, I know that's why you're here. So what is it? That's self-inquiry. Asking yourself, is it true that I won't be able to find the group of people that I need to support me on my new motives, on my new initiatives, on my new pathway to bliss? Is it true that just because this new friend looks like the scarecrow, that they're not going to be able to have the brains to assist me in this situation? Is it true that just because I have this new boss that looks like Tin Man, that they are heartless? Is it true? Ask yourself, is it true? And you will find, I always refer people to Byron Katie right here on YouTube, BYRONKATIE, to do the worksheet on repetitive pain thoughts, so that the self-inquiry that is in your shadow position here during this August full moon can render you the results that you need right now. Why wait? Why wait for the answers that you clearly need now? This is the first full moon after these triple eclipses, July 12th, 27th, and August 11th. Major energy. You need some answers. And so do the self-inquiry work in order to reorder your daily life with ease. Now, self-inquiry, that August full moon on the 26th, is going to wane down into a downloading balsamic phase in which you're going to get answers. And it's going to be a new moon in September on the 9th, where 12th house energies are going to receive these downloads in Leo, Virgo, your 12th house. So this is an opportunity for you to open your heart to this new information, as opposed to having not connected with your heart field, having not connected with your equally effective and synonymous intuitive sense of self and the Holy Spirit, Great Mother speaking to you, having a heartbreak. You are opening up to what the downloads are telling you. And the downloads from self-inquiry always open us up to an opportunity to face a challenge that we'd rather not. There may very well be, during that new moon in September, a challenge that you'd rather not face, a situation that you'd rather not have to deal with at all. But realize that even though you're terrified, it's a really exciting time. Your heart is opening and it's breaking at the same time. So your heart is breaking around these relationships, this reordering of your daily life, this reordering of relationships, and particularly with your mother as well. But you're game for what needs to happen to achieve your goals. You're up for it. And you're wanting your outer life to reflect what's in your inner life. It just seems overwhelming right now. Just remember that heartbreak is heart opening turned inside out. But by having a heads up on what this cycle and what this season means for you, you can make the heart opening heartbreak turned inside out. And this heart opening will expand your capacity to integrate a greater, more wise part of yourself if you're willing. This 12th house energy is very powerful. It is your moon sign. In the sun actually is your moon sign. So the sun is in your moon sign, in your first house. So you have this first house energy of the sun reflecting 12th house energy. This is very ecliptical. And so that's why we're continuing with these energies until they kind of start to make their turn. And this is telling us that you are clear about who you are. You are balancing your new identity, but it's just requiring you to take a beat to download the lessons that you've learned in the process. Now, what Great Mother is wanting you to release by the full moon in September on the 24th is a tendency to resist the purification process that is inevitable from all of this internal work. Now, what does she mean by the resistance to the purification process? Well, what is purification? But release. It is more letting go, and so you may feel that you already have let go, but there will be more letting go by the end of September with the purification card. As we see here with the heart chakra waxing gibbous moon card and the scene of the Wizard of Oz when Dorothy and the three are finally allowed entry into the castle, but are first taken to the wash and brush up room. So yes, you have entered into this understanding that your relationship with your mother as well as others needs to be reordered and reprioritized in your life. But before you really get to that in earnest, this is all internal work that you've done so far. Before you get to that in earnest in terms of actively working with that, with your sun sign energy, the lunar energies are working with you to purify. Great Mother is saying, release what you are resisting to let go of still. You are going through a rites of emotional and intuitive passage from one phase of existence into another. You're growing in new and unexpected ways in which you never knew existed at this particular time. And you've basically already been baptized in the waters of purification after a long battle with negative forces. And so you've already entered the castle. You've gained entry. But before you can actually go before the throne and begin your work in earnest, some things still need to be washed up. And what's showing that still needs to be washed up is perhaps just your own reflection of what you've been through. Your own sense of what you have perhaps suffered, what you have given up in this process, how you came to this point of deciding to follow your bliss. You decide to enjoy your life on your own terms now. That is the cost of admission into the inner sanctum of yourself. The cost of admission into our inner sanctum is always our conscious decision to do so. We do not enter into our inner sanctum without that conscious choice. We are forever outside of our inner sanctum until we consciously decide to enter it. And on this full moon in September, there will be a big purge for you to do that. And you're ready. You're ready. You're ready for it. There may be a bit of apprehension here. The sun is still in your first house by the September full moon in Virgo, Libra, and the moon now has moved into your 6th, 5th house in Aquarius, and the nakshatras are telling us that in the moon, where you are in Purva Bhadravad, that you have this real intuitive sense that you are in a process, a sacrificial process. It's motivated by love. You're determined. But there's a lot of nervous energy around this. It's an altruistic energy. It's not just about you. You do want to make your changes for the benefit of the good of all. But the sun is shining this light in your first house from Uttara Falguni. And Uttara Falguni is all about prosperity through partnerships, through relationships, perhaps marriage. And maybe now your relationship with your marriage, your significant other, is shining now that you've gotten so much of that toxicity in your social network out of your line of energy. And it's a productive energy. It's a very stable but flexible energy that allows you to be successful in what you pursue. It's a very noble type of energy. And so you're coming into yourself. You are deciding to enjoy your life on your own terms. And it's attractive to your mate. It's attractive to those who have always supported you or your new friends who are supporting you. And most of all, it is attractive to you. Now, what's going to facilitate this is you embracing your shadow. And many times we think the shadow is, ooh, what's bad about me that I don't want to acknowledge, that I don't want to accept. Yeah, okay, you can approach it that way. But the shadow is what really is something that we just can't see within ourselves. It doesn't have to be something bad that we don't see. And by embracing what you don't see or what you haven't seen up to this point, you will be able to further purify yourself to actually enjoy your life on your own terms. In other words, Inanna, as we see here, is the wizard who is responding to Dorothy, who tells him, "You're a very bad man," by saying, "I'm not a bad man, I'm just a very bad wizard." Up to this time, you may have thought, I'm a bad child, I'm a bad son, I'm a bad daughter, I'm a bad friend because I'm needing to focus on myself. But now that you're deciding to live your life, enjoy, most importantly, your life on your own terms, you are now seeing that not only was that perception of yourself bogus, but you may be actually shocking yourself. Now you're asserting yourself. You see surprising aspects of yourself. You are spreading your wings, and not only are you allowing yourself to make the decisions about where and how and when you exchange your energy and whether or not it's worthy of your energy, you are sharing yourself in authentic ways that doesn't even make sense to you anymore. And so what's facilitating your purification, therefore, is embracing the shadow of accepting you are where you are in your healing process. And that you will always have new frontiers, new levels of understanding that you will be entering and transcending. There will always be aspects of yourself that are more passive and aspects that are more aggressive. And as you utilize your awareness by embracing your shadow, you're not a bad friend, you're not a bad child, you're not a bad person to want to live your life on your own terms. You are who you are, and you accept yourself as yourself, which is what happiness is. You accept yourself just as Great Mother, Father, God does. And as you work with that, not saying that's where you will actually be at that time, but the energies will be supporting you tremendously to facilitate the purification process that Coventina speaks to, that is actually necessary for you to fully initiate your MDT healing process. Those of you who have already initiated that process have embrace the shadow of the guilt, the sadness, the denial of MDT, and that is what the conscious work is about. Those of you who are just now getting to that place because you are beginning to enjoy your life on your own terms, are being introduced to how you work with that shadow. Okay, and it will come up, but that inner eye, that third eye of knowing that you are living according to your soul contract to evolve in self-love and spiritual independence will carry you through. Your final outcome is the birth mother card. Now, this is all about that soul contract, that soulmate relationship with the mother to evolve in self-love and spiritual independence. This indicates you will have evolved a tremendous amount in this particular season with regard to MDT. So regardless of where you started, whether you've been doing your work for at least a year with me, whether you have just been working with Great Mother Speaks videos, whether you have been doing your own work and you've just been introduced to these videos. It just came from out of nowhere. People tell me that all the time when they book a reading. They just saw the reading on YouTube, and I had no idea. Wherever you are, regardless, you cannot be at this particular place and not evolve during this eclipse season. The outcome with the birth mother card tells us that you will see your situation as it is. You will recognize that you can relax in knowing that your intention has been set, and that by breathing through it and trusting the guidance that you have, you will be in touch with the maternal unconditional love, nurturing, and compassion that you need for this journey. You'll no longer have the need to project your sense of validation onto your mother, surrogates, or other people. By this time is indicated as well by those who have been doing this work for a period of time. Angels is your center card. So that lets us know that the angels are very active. If this seems impossible to you, again, if you've just been introduced to this, the angels are working with you to balance your yin-yang, ego, soul nature, your intuitive, instinctual nature, to live in loving detachment from the mama, the drama, and the trauma. Neither these readings or my coaching work are intended to replace, but rather enhance work in therapy, support groups, or 12-step programs. Some of you may elect to do this work on your own, but if you are an adult victim of physical or sexual abuse, I believe that professional help is essential for you. If you abuse drugs or alcohol to deaden your feelings, you must deal with your compulsion before attempting to work with the energies in the ways suggested here. There's no way to gain control of your life if you are being controlled by an addiction. For that reason, I insist that any of my clients who are substance abusers also join a program such as Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous. The readings here are intended for those who have undertaken the healing work of MDT with a minimum of 6 months sobriety. Your emotions are extremely raw in the beginning phases of recovery, and there is always the danger that uncovering and exploring painful experiences during this time may cause you to slip back into substance abuse. It would be both unrealistic and irresponsible of me to suggest that if you follow the readings as suggested here, all your problems will disappear overnight. But I can assure you that if you do this work as suggested by Great Mother, and you are otherwise healthy and on your healing path, exciting new ways of relating to yourself and to your parents and others are provided here, and you will be able to define who you are and how you want to live your life moving forward from this eclipse season. Not only that, you will discover a new sense of confidence and self-worth, self-love, and spiritual independence. through the love of Great Mother. Enjoy your lunar cycle based on the messages of love that Great Mother has given you. Remember that she truly does love you, and I do too.
Divine Mother, cosmic womb, deep space.